I told you about a kingdom so rich its own king is fully covered in gold? And you might be imagining a man with a golden crown and so many golden jewelry. No, 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 no. He is covered from head to toe, gold dust. And the people gather once every while and they gather all of the meaningful things to them, the precious jewelry, the emeralds and the gold, and they throw them in a sacred lake. I know you might not believe me, but only 500 years ago people died searching for the land of gold. Today we will be talking about El Dorado. If you want to find out more about it, stick with me till the very end. Hi everyone, and welcome back to a new YouTube video on my channel. It's me, your girl Sarah, and today I'm wearing this traditional Algerian piece called Khayt al-Ruh. I know it's not related to the topic, it's just one of my favorite jewelries, and we will be talking about a lot of gold and jewelry in today's video. So I thought I need to put it on. Like, who said we can only wear that in weddings? No, 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 no. We can wear it anytime, whenever we feel like it. So when I was young, I watched the movie Road to El Dorado, and honestly, I was not captured by the tons of gold. You know, when you're a child, I think it's more about the adventure itself. It's more about the land that no one has ever reached kind of feeling, rather than, oh, I want piles of gold. Like, probably I didn't even know that gold can give us money to buy things when I watched the movie the first time. And recently, I felt like rewatching it. And then a question came into my mind. Wait. Did El Dorado exist? Is it a real place? Is it a country? Is it a city? Is it a true land? Or is it just a legend? Oh, today's video is very different from every other video I've ever done. I spent so long on this research. If you find any mistake, make sure you correct me in the comments below, and I will make sure to double check each and every mentioned information. Our story starts with Christopher Columbus in 1492. Christopher Columbus and his crew opened the door to a whole new world that has never been known of. It was discovered by him. That explains why so many tribes lived in there for thousands of years before he found them, destroyed them, took their lands. It's what we know now as South America. But that's not the point. In history, he did find that place and discover it, and after that, I think so many people started to think, oh wait, so our world is so much bigger than this. New lands mean new resources. New resources, you know what I'm thinking? Gold. A lot of people went out there and started exploring what was thought as, oh, a new road to Asia kind of thing. Exploring mountains and rivers they have never reached in their lives, mapping them down, and at the same time searching for gold. And two important events followed this right after: the fall of Aztec Empire and the conquest of the Inca Empire. Europeans loved to expand, and Spanish conquistadors took over these two kingdoms. And this made so many other people think, okay, this changes everything. People are expanding, they are taking empires down. And when you take an empire down, it means what they have is yours. The gold is yours. Anything valuable that they have is no longer theirs, it's yours. And they started wanting the gold. Spanish expeditions kept moving towards new territories, and they met so many tribes and indigenous people. Of course, there was the barrier of communication, but the stories they brought back were very interesting because they claim that so many people who were able to communicate with them told them a story about one man who is covered in gold. And you know, when these people hear the word gold, something within them moves. They yearn to get that gold. Like, I don't even want to get into this. They are so greedy. I mean, aren't we all? Stories traveled from the end to the world to its other end, and they talked about one specific man, the king of a certain place. They were unable to say if it was a city or a kingdom, an empire at first, but later on, the legend made it an empire. When a new ruler is chosen, that ruler gets covered in gold dust. Him and his people walk towards a sacred lake, each of them carrying the most valuable thing they have, a lot of golden jewelry and emeralds, and they throw them in the sacred lake as an offering to the gods they believe in. This place is now known as Colombia, but at the time it was known as Muisca. The Spanish gave the king a name, El Dorado. So from the very beginning, El Dorado was never a place, it was a person. But as the time went by, El Dorado was referred to as the land itself, and everyone started looking for that lake and that place known as Muisca. So many explorers, soldiers, kings and queens longed to put their hands on that gold. And they searched for years and years and years. None of them was able to find it yet. By the 1540s, the Spanish found so much wealth in Mexico and Peru, who were under them at the time. And that made them even more obsessed with El Dorado. They could never get enough of anything. They wanted more. And they never looked at El Dorado as a culture, a religious, spiritual act that these people do. They offer all they have to the gods they believe in. No. They just wanted the gold. Gonzalo Jimenez, 1536. One of the most important Spanish expeditions was led by this man, and his journey was very brutal. These people were against nature, finding new places, new animals, everything and everyone around them tried to kill them. But they did not stop. They were very obsessed. They were not willing to back down without finding El Dorado, and they did find it. Muisca, the land we spoke of, looked very different from what these men had in mind. For years they have been dreaming of a kingdom so full of gold. They imagined people walking around in jewelries and having to do nothing because they have so much gold. But the reality was pretty different. It made them choose to not believe that that was the El Dorado they have been looking for. The people were farmers. They were very simple and kind, and they loved the gods they worship. They had organized complex communities. They were highly skilled men and women, and those of them who were able to reach this land, as I said, they were only few, went back to the world and to let everyone know that the city of gold, or the golden city El Dorado, does exist. And this will move us to 1541. Gonzalo Pizarro was the one leading this expedition. And trust me, this one, it was one of the hardest things he's ever done in his life. They faced hunger, fear, cold. While seeking the gold, they found out that all they can try to do, taking that path, is to survive. And they were able to, but only a few of them. So many men were lost chasing after the dream of El Dorado, the city of gold. Yet so many seeked it and loved it and were even more obsessed with it. The expedition fell apart. So many people died of hunger or were killed by wild animals. The weather, let's say nature, was just against them. And therefore, yet another expedition came to an end. But there was a smaller group led by a man called Orlano ahead of the expedition, and they encountered something insane. They described a place that started off as a river, and then the edges, you can no longer see them. It made them feel like they were almost in the ocean. These people discovered the Amazon River. Or did they? Because they said that they met so many people. In fact, I found a story about a tribe of women who attacked these people as they were crossing by their lands. But I could not find any official source, or any confirmation. But I just loved this story and I had to bring it up. But even Orlana returned to Europe with no gold and without discovering the city of gold. Instead, they discovered the river of Amazon. Lope de Aguirre. What can I say about this man? He was the most inhuman, violent, let's say, treasure hunter the world has probably ever known. This man set sail. The destination? El Dorado, of course. I'm telling you, everyone was obsessing over El Dorado. In 1560, he had to join an expedition led by a man named Pedro de Ursua. They entered the Amazon this time. They were ready because of all the stories they heard about that dangerous land, the Amazon and whatever surrounds it. They were able to cross it, even though so many people were lost. A few were able to reach it. They thought they were ready, but apparently they were not, because only a few days in, if not few weeks, hunger strikes. Everything and everyone is against them. Their food supplies were running out, and they started turning on against each other. Pedro was killed by the rebellions. And guess who was leading those rebellious people? Aguirre was the one leading these men, or should I call him the madman, because that became his title or nickname after the massacre he committed against his own crew and the leader, Pedro, which was very sad. Later on, he was arrested and executed. Right after that, the treasure hunters set eyes into another place. Well, they did not completely forget about El Dorado, but there was this place in Colombia that made them think it is the legendary lake, the sacred lake they have been looking for from the very start. It's Lake Guatavita. According to the Spanish accounts, this lake was associated with the Muisca rituals. Their plan was simple. The gold is under the water, we get rid of the water and we get the gold. They did not respect the culture, the religion of the people in there. They just wanted the gold. They couldn't care if they were offerings or whatever. Like, no. It was never about art, because something else happens to the art. And by the way, so many people handcrafted things with gold and emeralds to offer them to the gods they believe in. But later on, something bad will happen to these things. They attempted to lower the water levels of the lake, and it worked a little bit to a certain degree, and they found some gold offerings and some stuff. But the treasure they had in mind, what they expected, that was not quite it, actually. They were not satisfied with the little bits of gold that they stole, but of course they took it back with them. And they came back with a confirmed story where the Muisca live. That lake in Colombia, that is the thing they have been looking for. A few centuries later, people tried to get the gold out of that lake. They tried so many things. And there was this project of like a huge tube getting the water out of it, to get the gold. They were able to collect gold, don't get me wrong. They found so many offerings, but it was not enough for them. Like, it was just a bits on the side of the lake. They wanted more. And the thing is, when they got the water out of the lake, almost fully, let's say, the mud started to harden on the gold, and it made it almost impossible to get it out, the gold that was at the bottom. It was as if nature was against them, and I do not know why they did not consider giving up the idea of El Dorado. So yeah, eventually they failed again, and the lake remained, can I even say, untouched at this point. So many people tried over the years. No one succeeded fully, let's say. They stole bits of gold. It's just that they were never able to get all of it out of that lake. The sad part is that those treasure hunters, when they found the gold, they sort of like had to melt it into, this, to make it easy for them to take it back with them to Europe. It was heartbreaking. Like, I know these people spent so much time building that, but eventually it was ruined. But the lake remains there. And let me tell you something, the people in Muisca really had offerings. They had gold offerings, and they throw so many golden things in that lake over the years of their existence in there. And funny enough, no one was able to get that gold out of there. It just makes me so happy that they failed, honestly. It all started with one man, one tradition, and the Europeans went crazy. What do you mean? A man covered in golden dust and people throwing gold in a sacred lake as a stupid offering? Yeah, let's just get that gold. This is how El Dorado's story started and ended. The people were real. The traditions were real. The sacred lake was real. The gold was real. It was a real place. And no one was able to do what they wanted to do to it. But people's greed made this story all about gold, Everyone who reached Muisca, the New Colombia, never thought, oh my God, I met these people who have these traditions and beliefs that are very, very unique, This is what they do and this is what... No, they just saw gold. And the stories, they get exaggerated from a sailor to another one, from a treasure hunter to another one. And they turned one man, one tradition into a whole empire. And that was not enough. Later on, they said, there is a golden city. And their minds drove them into thinking like, there is this city full of gold. Everyone is wearing gold. The ceilings are gold, gold palaces and gold things all over the place. I don't know, human imagination is fascinating when you set your eyes on something and you really want to have it. I think sometimes you just can't. But, well, that's if you are greedy. I think if whatever you set your eyes towards is something noble, you will definitely get there. So that was pretty much it for today's video. Do you want to visit the sacred lake? Will you be the kind of person who would try to steal people's gold from the sacred lake? I see you there. You nodded your head. Thank you very much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a lovely day ahead. And yes, I did not disappear because I made a promise to you. Didn't I say that I will keep uploading every single week? You thought I'm lying? Oh my God. There is no trust between us anymore, I guess. I'll just have to go. Bye. Compliment my headpiece, please. I know it's so cute, and I know you're jealous, but you can't have it. It's mine. Bye.